Chosen Family by thwip Trickster88. Harry grows. His hair grows longer, fluffy curls that tangle on top of his head. His father grumbles that they should cut it, but his mother won't hear of it. She laughs and calls it cute, kissing him on each cheek. The baby fat begins to disappear, giving way to the soft features of a child, the beginnings of an angled jaw and sharp cheekbones that will come with time. He sees Peter again when they both go to first grade. The same chestnut hair, the same bright brown eyes, though he has an extra inch of growth on his heart, same as Harry. They pick up where they left off, except Peter's quieter now, sadder. They lay in the grass in the schoolyard, staring up at the buildings and the clouds, and Peter takes his hand again, like they're 5 years old. "I miss my mom," Peter whispers, like it's a secret, and maybe it is. Harry doesn't say anything, but maybe he doesn't have to. Maybe all Peter needs is for someone to listen. It doesn't matter that Peter's quiet. Harry is loud enough for the both of them. When the older kids come to push Peter off the swing set, Harry pushes them back and throws them down into the mulch. Perhaps Harry has never stood up for himself the same way, but know this, he will always stand up for Peter Parker. Harry's in 3rd grade, 8.5, 53 pounds, 4 feet 3 inches, when his mother gets sick. He watches her deteriorate, watches as his beautiful, lively mother disappears before his very eyes. He sits outside the bathroom and listens to her vomit into the toilet, clutching at his stuffed Elmo until Bernard convinces him to come downstairs and have a cookie. Norman comes home later and later every day, not that he ever really came home on time to begin with, looking more and more manic. Harry knows his father is looking for a cure, trying to do something, anything to help his wife, but Harry knows deep in his stomach that there's nothing they can do. Children feel, and sometimes they know. "You have to be strong, Harry," Norman tells him, as he tucks Harry in and out, since his mother is too bedridden to do it. One shaking hand brushes through wayward curls. "Can you do that for me?" Harry nods that he can, but even as he does, he's not sure if it's true. Emily is admitted to the hospital 2 months into 4th grade, and Harry starts spending more time at the Parker residence than his own home. Peter lives with his aunt and uncle now, who welcome him with bright smiles. The apartment is small, a little cozy, but it's warm. It reminds Harry of what his house felt like when his mother was well enough to bake banana bread in the kitchen. Aunt May has pretty, long brown hair that she lets Peter and Harry brush. Sometimes, and she always says yes when they ask her to play the captured princess in their games. Uncle Ben comes home with dust on his boots, but no matter how tired he is, he always picks Peter up and spins him around until the boy is shrieking with laughter. And he picks Harry up too when he's there and makes him feel like he's flying. One night, Bernard comes to retrieve him in the middle of dinner with the Parkers. He drives him straight to the hospital, and Harry stares out the window of the car, wishing he had Peter's hand to hold. He knows something's wrong, and he knows it's probably his mother. Children always know, eventually. Emily is asleep when he arrives, machines beeping softly, the gentle hiss of her nasal cannula filling up the silence. She looks peaceful but gaunt, a body ravaged from incurable disease. Somehow, his father looks worse. Harry sits in the chair next to his mother's bed and holds her hand. Norman sits across from him, head in his hands, despair written all over the tense lines of his shoulders, the ragged quality of his breathing. Harry wants to be strong, but it's hard. Norman didn't tell him how hard it would be when he asked it of him, but it's the most difficult thing Harry's ever tried to do, to hold his mother's hand and try not to cry when he knows deep down she's not going to wake up. He tries to be strong, but he's only 9, and the tears fall anyway, a dull ache in his chest. His mother is not there to soothe him with ice cream and warm kisses. The machines go off, a cacophony of noise, and Harry cries cries so hard it hurts. Nurses rush in and start yelling about a crash cart as Harry is shunted off to the side. His father doesn't look up, even with all the commotion, an immovable statue in his chair, head still buried in his hands. Years later, Harry wonders if Norman ever really left the hospital room in any of the ways that mattered. 2 hours later, Norman emerges. Harry stares at his father through the gaze of tears that still hadn't stopped, but Norman just grabs him by the arm and frog marches him out of the hospital. They ride in complete silence, the kind of silence Harry knows better than to break. The city is still bright and alive, even in the absolute dead of night, but the lights blur together with his tears. Harry's surprised, however, when they end up back at the Parkers' apartment. Norman bangs on the door, uncaring of the late hour, and as soon as the door opens, he flees, leaving Harry sobbing at Uncle Ben's feet. Norman still has trouble looking at him, even now. Harry has his mother's eyes, her dimpled smile, her carefree laugh. Norman asked Harry to be strong for both of them, really, because he couldn't be. Daddy! Harry cries, trying to follow his dad back down the hallway, but Ben catches him around the waist and pulls him into a tight hug. It's okay, Harry, Ben murmurs, as May hurries into the entryway, summoned by the racket. Harry screams and buries his face in Ben's shoulder, breath hitching painfully. Aunt May, who smells like citrus and sunshine, takes him from Ben, wraps him up in her arms, and just rocks him on the cheap carpeting. Peter appears in the doorway from his bedroom, rubbing his eyes sleepily, stuffed rabbit dragging along on the floor behind him. Ben says something to him. Harry can't hear what it is over his own blubbering, but Peter doesn't seem disturbed. He walks up to Harry with clear brown eyes and wipes away his friend's tears gently. I'm sorry, Peter says simply, and Harry sniffs, quieting. Peter takes Harry's hand, folding their skinny fingers together, and squeezes tight. Your mom was really nice. Yeah, Harry mutters, and Peter tugs him, leading him back towards his bedroom. May and Ben trail after them, watching as Peter pushes Harry towards his little twin bed and makes him climb up. Peter pulls the blankets over Harry clumsily, tucking him in. You should go to sleep, Peter says wisely, and Harry just nods, looking up at his friend. Can you stay? Of course he can, May assures Harry, and Peter climbs up after him, wriggling under the blankets. May moves forward to help, smoothing her hand through Harry's hair, then Peter's. Good night. Good night, May, Peter hums, as Harry burrows closer, tucking his curls under Peter's chin. He drifts off, exhausted, worn out from crying, but safe, with Peter's warm weight next to him. Tomorrow it will be worse. Peter and Harry will sit in Peter's room, pretending to play while May screams into Norman's answering machine. You can't abandon your son when he needs you the most. What kind of father would do that to a child? For now, though, Harry drifts, blessedly, dreamlessly. The world turns on, even when it feels like it shouldn't. And it shouldn't. It shouldn't have the audacity to even try when there's this gaping hole in Harry's life where his mother used to be. But it does. And children grow. They grow with knobby knees and sticky fingers, gangly and uncertain. They grow with laughter and tears, two extreme ends on a scale they search to balance all their lives. They grow with passion and excitement, with gap-toothed smiles and hair that curls down into their eyes. The hair is mostly Peter. His curls are loose where Harry's tighten over the years. And at 12 and a half, Harry's heart skips a beat when he notices how Peter's eyelashes brush his bangs when they grow too long. Harry Osborn is not a quiet child, but he's not a child anymore. He takes up art. His mother loved it, loved painting in the sitting room and singing along to Sesame Street with Harry. He's not sure where her paintings are now. Norman had them taken down a long, long time ago. every trace of Emily erased, except the one he couldn't rid himself of. Recently, he started replacing the blank spaces with masks, ugly, twisted things that scream and grimace. Harry doesn't like them. You should put up your art, Peter tells him, ankles crossed behind him as he lays on his stomach on Harry's bedroom rug. He's flipping through some science book, thick frame glasses slipping down his nose. They're new and too big, but ever since he got them, he's been tearing through books at a frightening speed. Harry just laughs and tags along to the library with Peter and Ben, helping to carry the load back to the Parkers' apartment. Nah, none of it's any good, Harry shrugs, glancing at the half-finished painting on his easel. It's a snow-covered landscape of Central Park, but he used too much blue, and he thinks it's starting to look like the moon. Probably better to scrap the whole thing at this point. Besides, my dad's not big on art anyway. Peter frowns, a small furrow appearing in his brow, like he can't believe anyone wouldn't like Harry's artwork. Harry smiles, a soft thing reserved for Peter, who can't help but be sweet as he doggedly tells him just how good he thinks Harry's paintings are. A week from today, Harry will walk into Peter's kitchen and the fridge will be covered, fully covered, in his artwork. May is just as sweet as her nephew. He had to get it from somewhere. Harry's father, by contrast, is all sharp edges, poking at his fragile insides when Harry gets too close. So he grows a shell. A tough skin, Norman calls it, cuffing Harry proudly on the shoulder. But it's not skin. It's a lacquer hard and brittle protecting him. Harry is not quiet, but hidden, tucked away neatly inside himself. It's the only way he knows how to be. Norman is a hard person to love, and sometimes Harry wonders how his mother did it, when he's seething in his room, trying not to scream. You cannot choose your family. He is 14, and he is quiet. To be the opposite is to be disappointing, and Harry is old enough now to understand that disappointment is unacceptable.